Hello, you are welcome to class. My name remains Jude Chukwudi Ilobelu, your coordinator and your facilitator with respect to the Python program. So we are on to introduction to programming with Python. And in our last class, I've already started showing you how you can be able to use Python to do a lot of things. We have done some functions, but for this sake of emphasis, I would like to use this aspect also to emphasize more on what we should know with respect to basic function programming. So the course outline again, need to know the introduction to Python. What is it that is Python? Why do we use Python? And why do we use Anaconda? Then syntax, first program in Python. Of course, you know it's hello world, Python identifier and keywords, multiple lines and indentation comments. Then Python basics, want to know what variables are, operators, conditionals, loops, data structure. We need to know what is a list, a tuple, dictionary. Also need to know functions in Python. Need to know the classes in Python, the file operator, and the different models. So without much wasting of time, we'd like to ask ourselves why Python. Of course, Python is an open source data warehouse, which is used for a lot of programming activity. So when you say what is Python, you say it's a high-level programming language. High level in such a way that it is usable by virtually every programming language developer. Because of it, you can say it is a general purpose programming. The reason is that it has what we call a human readable language, which makes it easy to be used, unlike other programming languages like Java, like C++ and C++, amongst many. We also have a very strong competitor to Python that we call R. But Python has become more popular than R, and it is more usable than R in today's programming world. So you say the code readability is very, very smooth. So say Python loves white space. It's clear programming on both small and large scale, and it has dynamic types. Also, the memory usage or the memory utilization is very, very good because it's automatic memory management. So as you are working, it is already started saving in the memory space. Now, another thing again you should know about Python is that it is object oriented. It's an object oriented programming language. Imperative and functional procedure, large and comprehensive standard library. A lot of library can be used in Python. They are very, very large, both the one that are inbuilt and the one that you can bring on your own and input into your space. They are all there. So why Python? Why are we using Python? It has universal syntax. The writing code is universal. What you see obtainable here, when you go to other place, other community, you are going to see the same thing being used. So it makes usability very easy and simple, preventing not giving, there's no need for a lot of reconversion because of its universality. Then the community-based development model is because it's an open source, a lot of input, people going to research and they bring development which is beneficial to the community. Another striking importance of why we use Python is that Python is very accessible for Stack Overflow and GitHub. GitHub is an open source repository which houses a lot of projects. It houses a lot of projects, and most of them are also through the use of Python. Python has a lot of modules too, or module, which is used for work. So we have other things like one-stop shop, which you can see the structured query language, web scraping, social media listening, geolocation, posting, picture animation, app coding, name it. All of them can be done through the use of Python. All of them can be done through the use of Python, and for us, we are making use of Anaconda for Python. So what then is Anaconda? Because we have installed it, we need to know what it is. Say it's an open source platform developed by Continuum for implementation of Python. So it's an open source. Anybody can have access to it and make use of it and use it to advance his course of study. It has a wider application in data science. So Anaconda is the world's most popular Python data science platform. It's a very big platform. It provides a more interactive and intuitive GUI for data modeling. The file in Anaconda creates files in iPhone notebook format. When you store your work in Python, the work is stored as IPython notebook. IPython notebook, or yes, that is how it is stored in your file. So when you start to work and your work begin to be saved, you see that it is saved as IPython NB, which is notebook. So each open file creates a kernel which can be used to run the code. Remember the one that we did last time? I was able to open up a platform for Python and also showed you how to use the kernel in our introduction. That kernel is what we are talking about here. So each kernel consists of different cells, which are sections of code that runs together. You run it together, you can even run it separately, one after the other, and it will give you your desired result. So Anaconda for Python, all the advanced models are pre-installed. So when you start to work, you see that we have some libraries, modules already installed for you for use. So you don't need to install each library independently. Already it has been installed. Free and open source distribution for machine learning, big data. So machine learning, which is part of or an essential part of our study, has already been made easy because of the libraries that have been stored and the module already there. For those that are also looking into big data, it is also made easy already through this mechanism. So basic programming in Python. Basic programming in Python. So the most important or the first language you normally learn is how to print, even though I didn't start with this, but this is mostly what they use, hello world. So when you come to your Python notebook or your Jupyter notebook, you print. When you print, you type print, you see it comes in green color, and you insert your parentheses and you type hello world as an input, it will throw out an output that is giving you back your hello world. So this is a basic program, Python program. It is printing out a string. Remember, what we have written here is a string, and a string always comes with an apostrophe or inverted comma to tell us that it is a string. And a string is not numeric. Numeric are numbers or float or boolean, but a string is a text. Notice that the quotes are double quote. You can use single quote or double quote, but they need to be used together. So if you are putting single quote, put single quote for the two space, not one single and one double. Once you put single quote for two space or double quote for two space, you expect to get your answer. It is important to bring up how to put quote within string. You can either put string quote inside, just like this. So the character is called an escape character. So this is how you put your string and your quote to print out your text. So print is a function, as you can see, and must be invoked with parentheses. So this is a function. We're also going to know what a function is as we progress. So whenever you put up a function, you must have a parenthesis to invoke that function. There's some work that don't need to be brought out with function. As I said earlier, pay attention to every single instruction provided. It is needed for you to understand and use Python very well. So we have Python identifiers and we have keywords. So the question is, what is Python identifier? So a Python identifier is a name used to identify a variable, function, class, module, or other object. Say an identifier starts with the letter A to Z, or small a to small z, or an underscore followed by 0 or more letter, and the underscore digits can start from 0 up to 9. So Python does not allow punctuation characters such as at, comma, dollars, comma, and percentage within identifier. So these things, you are not supposed to see them as you are writing up your identifiers. They will not give you a throw up error. So Python is case sensitive. It's a case sensitive programming language, meaning that Python is careful of the case you are writing. If you are writing in small alphabet, you must continue in small alphabet. If one Mr. Jude is spelled with capital J starting and UDE as the other name completion and spelling, and you want to work that out in Python, once you don't use the capital as it was stated there and use something else, maybe a small letter, or you use capital letter throughout, Python will not work. It will throw up error. That is what it's telling you. So the case must be adhered to. So those Python and Python. So when you write Python, capital P, then you write small y and the rest, and now you write small p, then small y. Both of them are Python, but to the Python environment, these are two identifiers in Python, so they cannot work as one. So class names start with an uppercase letter. All other identifiers start with lowercase. So you will come to know what a class is and how you write a class. So starting an identifier with a single leading underscore indicates that the identifier is protected. So these are some of the identifiers, Python identifiers and the keyword. So the pattern. single leading underscore, single leading underscore, and this is the rule. You see the underscore, this small underscore here is very important. Says protected attribute. It's just a hint to the programmer, and it means that the Python community agrees it should mean. Indicate that the identifier is intended for internal use. Please do not access it, or does not affect the behavior of your program. You can still access it. So example is underscore var. So it's telling you that it is an arrangement which the user had decided to use or is using for his own use. It may not be what is obtainable to everybody in the community. So it helps you to differentiate, because you come to have access to people's work and people's file, and they may put things that are internal to them. You understand this one is internal and you know how to respect that. The other one is single trailing underscore. The first one is single leading. It starts the work, the underscore before the variable written. The next one is single trailing, just print, and now there's a trail after print. So it's a use by convention. So the first one is a protected attribute to avoid naming conflict with Python keywords. So these are conventional kind of write-up. Now when you look at this one, now is double variable underscore, double underscore now. So double leading underscore is private attribute, while the first is protected attribute. An attribute is quality, something that is ascribed to another. So private attribute, it gives a strong suggestion not to touch it from outside the class. Any attempt to do so will result in an attribute error. So whatever you are doing here should be done within that class and not outside the class. Then we'll have double leading and trailing, as you can see here. There's double underscore before variable and double underscore after variable. So it's reserved for special use in the language. This rule covers things like init for object constructors. Say avoid this naming scheme for your own attributes. Single underscore. 4. Single underscore encars. Say it's a temporary identifier. Avoid this if as it reduces the readability of code. Most of this thing we are showing you here is not that you are going to start using them, but it's just for you to know that we have them in Python, and you may possibly come across them at the point where you least expect. It may throw up confusion, so you will come back just like a guide and look at them and know how to proceed. So some Python keywords. So what are those keywords? Those words, when you see them in Python, they are not as we use them in common languages. They are there, they are important, they are for usage, but not as we use them or as we have them in our mindset when we use common languages. So we have keywords, they are reserved words, and you cannot use them as constant or variable or any other identifier. All the Python keywords contain lowercase letter, so you don't use them as capital letters. They come as what? Small letters. You see, and, assert, break, class, continue, define, delete, if, s, except, execute, finally, for, from global, if, import, in, is, lambda, not, or, pass, print, raise, return, try, while, with you. These are all Python keywords, and when they appear in a unified color. They are not in normal Python color of our work. You're going to see it when we start the work. Now we have multiple lines and indentation. If true, then you put up your indentation. The next printing or the next typing will start somewhere not from the same line from the first word printed. So you say print true, and when you do that, you put S again with this, it will still come again to say print. So if true, print true, S print false. So because it is true, it will print true. This is an example of how lines identification are done. Now here again, we have total is equal to 1 plus, you enter the next line by putting this slash 2 plus, you enter by this to the next line, print total. It will still add this up and give you the, assuming you don't want to print it in a straight line. So say Python provide no braces to indicate blocks of code for class and function definition or flow control. I say what are blocks? Blocks of code are denoted by lines indentation, which is rigidly enforced. Statements in Python typically end with a new line. So Python does, however, allow the use of the line continuation character, as you see, to denote that the line should continue. Statement contain within brackets, braces, and parentheses do not need to be used to use the line continuation character. So if you have a word that is enclosed in these three notation, then there's no need for this, except if it is open as this. That is what is saying there. Now we'll talk about comments in Python. Talk about comments in Python, and the comment is basically what you want to highlight or use to explain a given or a particular code. So when you put up comment, it allows Python not to use it, see it as a code and run it. So we'll now start the comment with a hash. So once a hash is typed first, any other thing you are writing will not be seen as a code by Python. So as you can see in this write-up, say this is my first program in Python with a hashtag. Then you say print hello world. The Python will not see this as part of the code. It will ignore it and just go to this code and execute the instruction hello world. So that is why we have this. That is, so as much line as you want to put up, start it with a hash and it will obey. All character after hash and onto the end of the physical line are part of the comment, and the Python interpreter ignores them. So the Python basics. Variables in Python. So based on the data type of a variable, the interpreter allocate memory and decide what can be stored in the reserved memory. So by assigning different data types to variable, you can store integer. Remember, we say integer are what? Positive numbers which start from 0 up to infinity. We have decimal, or we can call them float, or characters in this. So float are also there. We have Python variable. So Python variable do not need explicit declaration to reserve memory space. So once you are typing, the system allocate memory space automatically to it. So the declaration happen automatically. So after working, you will see the work and the space that is have been allocated. For here you see counter and it is 100, an integer. You have used a comment to do that. Miles, this is the sign or the volume of memory space that a counter can take up to 100, miles can take 1000, name John. So you now say print. So counter, print 100, print counter 100, print mile. So this work is a typical Python work. You have identified that the counter is equal to 100, so you have assigned counter to 100, you have assigned mile to 1000.0, you have assigned name to John, and John, you say as a comment that John is a string and mile is a floating point or a float, and counter is an integer. So when you say print counter, it will go and look at counter and print 100. Say print mice, you look at mice and print this, and same thing as John. So the operand to the left of the equal to is equal to operator is the name of the variable, and the operand to the right of the equal sign is the value. So we have name and value, they are all of essence. So we have different types of variables. We have numerical variables. They are variables which store numerical value. Numerical value are broadly divided into integer and float. We have done that before. Integer values are whole number value, where float value are decimal number. Then the mathematical operations between float and integer variable will be a float because of the point. Then strings. String variables hold collection of alphanumeric. Alphanumeric is talking about both when you see a word that has both numeric value and text value, we call them alphanumerics. So you can see them playing interchangeable role when you talk about string. They can be stored as string, a single alphanumeric character, a sentence, or a paragraph. It can be just A or my name Jude, or it can be a sentence, he is good, with apostrophe or a complete paragraph, and they are enclosed in a single or in a double quote. We do not need to provide the data types of variable as Python assign the name based on input. So once you have done that, Python will complete it and throw up the name. Apart from that, we also have Boolean values which can come as true or false. They can also come as ones and zero. So now, what are operators? Operators are constructs which can manipulate the values of operand. So we have something like 4 plus 5, which is 9, and we want to interpret it. So we say 4 and 5 are called what? Operand, and plus is the operator which gives us the answer or the output as 9. Excuse me. So we have arithmetic operators. They perform functions like addition when they add up, subtraction when they minus, multiplication when they do where there's multiplication times in 2 times 2 is a multiplication. We can do division, 20 divided by 4 for instance. We can do modulo, which is in percentage, and exponent, which is the exponential or powers calculation. Then we also have another type as comparison, we will say equal to with double equal to mark, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. These are comparison. Then we have assignment. So assign value from right to left, add, assign value, subtract, multiply as the case may be. Bitwise. We have and, which is showing us the ampersand. We have or, we have these strings. We have XOR, which is showing us the greater than power, the power sign. Then we have logical operators, and there are three: and, or, and not. Then membership, whether you are in or not in. Then identity, is or is not. These are operators that you come across as we engage in Python. So this is values, true values for this. We have and, or, and this should be not. So when you have two arguments, two conditions required, and if the two, for you to have and give us a positive to be true, then the two conditions will be correct. Two conditions will be correct, and then for all, if the two conditions are correct, all will also be correct. Then for the and, if one of the condition is true, is correct, and the other is not correct, then and condition will not hold, but all will hold. Then XOR, or the not condition, will also hold. Then if we have false true, the same thing applies. Then if we have false false, then and will still not hold, and all will not hold, and not will not hold. So now we have conditional statements. We have conditional statement, we have if statement, and if else statement. So decision making is anticipation of conditions occurring while execution of the program, and specifying action taken according to the condition. So decision structure evaluate multiple expressions which produces true or false as outcome. So what we are talking about here is that we also, in our Python work, we look at conditional statements to see if it satisfies a given condition and what is the corresponding output. For example, an if statement consists of a Boolean expression followed by one or more statements. As you can see here, the variable is 100. Then they say if the variable is the same thing as 100, then you say print. This is a testing if statement, and because the variable is equal to 100, so the variable is the same thing as 100, it is true. So because it's true, it will now print testing if statement. Now this is if else statement. That means after if, then there will be an else. That means if one condition does not hold, then the other condition should hold. So they say if statement can be followed by an optional else statement which executes when the Boolean expression is false. Now this is the same variable, and the variable will say if the variable is the same thing as 80, of course we know it is not correct, print testing if condition. That means if the condition is true, if this is true, then you write testing if condition. On else, if it is not true, print testing else condition. So because we have gone to look at it, the system will look at it, the variable is equal to 100, but here we're telling the variable is 80, which is not correct, so it is false. So because it's false, it will now print the false statement which is testing as condition. Now we have loop. So a loop statement allows us to execute a statement or group of statements multiple times. So you don't need to, every time you start from the beginning to the end. Loop can allow you to print the statement multiple times. So we have while loop and we have for loop. We have while loop and we have for loop. So while loop repeats a statement or group of statements while a given condition is true. So take it again. While loop repeats a statement or group of statements while a given condition is true. It tests the condition before executing the loop body. But for the loop, for loop, execute a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviate the code that manages the loop variable. So for the while loop, we say variable is equal to 0. Now we bring in the while loop. While the variable is less or equal to 2, we bring in our indentation, which will bring a printing here. So we say printing if this is variable is 0 and this is less or equal to 2, which is two different conditions. Say print testing while loop variable is +1 or equal to, or plus or equal to 1. So it will continue to print testing while loop, testing while loop, testing while loop as it continues. But for the for loop, variable which is equal to 0, say for var in range which is between 0 and 2, say print testing for loop, and variable is equal to var +1. It will print testing for loop and testing for loop, and it will stop. So data structure, we have a lot of things we need to look at. One of them is list. We need to know what a list is and why we use a list. So the most basic data structure in Python is the sequence. Remember, sequence is how things happen one after the other. Each element of a sequence is assigned a number, and that number will have its position, which is also called index. So the first index is 0, the second index is 1, and so forth. So this is a type of built-in sequence. Important things about a list is that items in a list need not to be the same, of the same type. So you may have different types of items. You may have an alphabet, you may have a number. As long as they are in a list, they are regarded as a list with a sequence. So creating a list is as simple as putting different comma separated value between square brackets. So for you to create a list, just like this, it is always in a square bracket. Always in a square bracket. That is how you know a list. It is not in a parenthesis or in braces. To access values in list, use the square bracket for slicing. Slicing talks about separating along with the index or indexes to obtain value available at that index. You can update single or multiple elements of list by giving the slice on the left hand side of the assignment operator. To remove a list element, you can use either the delete function statement if you know exactly which element you are deleting. So this is how to create a list. So we have creating a list. List is equal to, you have into bracket, you have as many number as you wish, and what we're saying is that the first item in the list is located at index 0. The first item in a list is getting index 0, the second item index 1, the third item index 2, the fourth item index 3, and the fifth one index 4. That is what it's saying. So printing the entire list, you just, once you have created, you say print, it will bring out this list the way it is put up here. Today I'm not writing anything. I want us to see, we are still going back to this work to pick and follow in sequence in next class about how and what we are doing. So printing the entire list, say print list. You are printing the entire list, just write print list and it will give you everything. The next one, say printing specific element on the list, second element. So you say print list, and now it is in bracket the index 1. So the Python will iterate. Remember, this is 0, 1, 2. So 2 is our index 1. So this is our index 1. That is why 2 is printed here. The next, say print range of element, print list within the range of 0 and 2. So what is going to print is what is in range 0 we have 1 and 2, with 0, 1, 2. Add element to the list. So have list is equals to 3, which is equals to 3. Print 3. So you added 3 by inserting it into the list. And you can also delete from the list. Delete list index 4. What is index 4? When you have done this, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one is the 1, 2, 3, 4. So index 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is off. So delete list 4. So 5 have been removed. But if we have this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we remove this, we'll be left with this, because we have added 3 to the list by this function. We also have all this, we are going to work it out in our next class. So we're just bringing these ideas, bringing in new terminology gradually, not in a rush. So common functions for lists, we have len. Len is counting the length of your list. If you have item, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which you know will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the total number is from here to here, which is 5. So len will now be 5, whether it starts from 0 or not. Now max. So when you use len as a function to query the list, it will give you the total number. Then the max is the maximum, the highest number that is returned from the list. Min is the lowest number. So max, return maximum value from the list. and min returns minimum value for the list. Now, append talks about join, append object to the list. So you're adding to the existing list. They will use append function. Remove object, delete from the function. This is sort. We are sorting this function maybe by number from the lowest to the highest. So this thing that I've been given is what we can bring into our function, our Python function, and work it out so that we can also get the same answer that is coming up here. So for the length of string, say print length of the list, and the length is 5. Now for the minimum element, say print minimum list, the lowest number, which is 1, comes out. For maximum element, you print max list, it gives you 5. Now you're adding element to the list, you click on list append. Now you're adding 6, so append, you're adding 6 to the list. So the number we say we can add to our list. So when you add this, you now print list, it will now add 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we now have index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then removing element, you now say list, remove 6. That means you can also remove it and come back to where you were. Then sort the list, say list dot sort, and you put empty bracket, print list. Remember it was 1, 3, 2, 5, 4. When you put up the sort, it now rearrange it to start from the lowest to the highest. So that is how you can work with your list comprehension. So how you can work with your list. Then tuple looks like a list, but you can see some differentiating characteristics. First of all, what is a tuple? A tuple is a sequence of immutable Python objects. Immutable means it cannot be broken down. Tuple are sequences as list, just like list, but there's a difference. The difference between tuple and the list are 1. Tuple cannot be changed, unlike list, and tuple use parentheses, whereas use brackets. You see, this is parentheses, while list use brackets. Now, tuple can also not be immutable, but list can be done. So creating a tuple is as simple as putting different comma separated value, just like we have seen for list. So to access value in tuple, use the square bracket for slicing along the index or indices to obtain value at the index. Tuple are immutable means you cannot update or change the value of tuple. You see the list, you can update list, you can add and remove, but you can't do that in tuple. You are able to take portion of existing tuple to create new tuple. You can create new tuple, but you cannot update it. So removing individual tuple element is not possible, just as we have been removing one and adding in list. It is not possible in tuple. To especially remove an entire tuple, just use the delete statement. And all these they have implications when we start to work with them. So this is tuple now. So print all element of a tuple. You see print tuple, it will give you everything out. Now print specific element, print tuple. Want to print 1, the index 1, it can show you what is index 1. Print range from 0 to 2, it will give you 0 is index 0, index 1, index 2. So from 0 to 2, it gives you here 1 is the first, then 2 is the next, then the last one here is delete the entire tuple. If you delete function, it will delete the work. The join two tuple is tuple 1, have 1, 2, tuple 2, 3, 4. So tuple is supposed to 1 plus 2, print tuple. It will now show you 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now dictionary is the last aspect of what we are going to look at today. Dictionary is an important aspect too that is very key in Python work. It's a set of value, keys and value. That is how dictionary is all about. So each key is separated from its value by a column. So we're talking about sequence of key value. The items are separated by commas, and the whole thing is enclosed in a curly braces. So we have keys and we have values. We have keys. Key and values. That is what dictionary is all about. Keys, values, keys, values. Okay. So key are unique within a dictionary while value may not be. So values can change, but the key remain as an important factor. The value of a dictionary can be of any type. So to access dictionary element, you can use the familiar square bracket along with the key to obtain a value. You can update a dictionary by adding a new entry or a key value pair, modifying an existing entry. So dictionaries can be modified, unlike tuple. You can either remove individual dictionary element or clear the entire content of a dictionary. You can also delete entire dictionary in a single operation. So dictionary is also an important aspect that you need to know. And this is an example. Creating a dictionary, dict is the word given, and you see the braces. See the braces. See the braces here. Very key. So you have first name, and you start with, after giving the key, this is the key. Now the value, now you're putting Kruti, comma, last name. The first name is Kruti, that's the value. The last name is Jain, then age is 23. This is dictionary now. So printing all the element dictionary, say print dictionary. It will now print first name Krut, last name Jain, age 23. Now the next thing you say print the value associated with specific value key. Now you say print dictionary, just want to see the first name only. You can see that the first name you want to see is in bracket, in this in bracket. So when you do that, first name Kruti, first name Kruti, last name Jain, age. Updating the dictionary, dict age 22. So you have now updated age. So when you print the age, it will now show you 22 and no more 23. You adding key value to dictionary, dict email. We're not adding email to it, is equals to this is the email print dictionary. So it will now print the first name, last name, the age, and also the email. You can also delete the email and it will be deleted. So built-in functions for dictionary also have len for dictionary. Give the length of dictionary, dictionary get dot get key. Want to get the key, the item, return all the item or the key and the values. Dictionary return all the values. So this is it about dictionary. We're not going to touch Python function now. We'll be doing that later so that you can assimilate and look into what we have done, because we're going to come back to practice with the given example of all what we have done today. So we'll see you next time in the class. Thank you, and continue to study. May knowledge be on your side. Bye bye.